Greg Anthony, Turner Sports NBA analyst, about the game that's on at 9 Eastern Time tonight on TNT. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing good, Rich. Doing great. How are you, sir?
I am well. What happens tonight, sir? Best you can tell.
Oh, this one's interesting. I don't know if they cleared Iguodala yet. I haven't heard, but obviously his absence really diminishes their depth, Golden State. And I do think they were fatigued in that game because of the style and not having the bodies. And the thing about Iguodala, it's like losing two guys because of his versatility. Again, having said all of that, they still got 4 All-NBA guys, and nobody else in the league has 4. And you should be able to win a game like that at home when you hold the opponent to 94 points. So, but give the Rockets a ton of credit for not giving up, believing that they could come back and win. I kind of give the Rockets a slight edge tonight, but, let's see how they handle success. Nobody's won 2 in a row yet in this series. Can they come out with the intensity they're going to need because they're going to face a desperate Golden State team? I don't think there's any question about it. And the Golden State has proven through the years that when they've been desperate, for the most part, they've been really good. So I do think it's going to be a tough game. I think we might see something similar to what we saw in Game 4 in terms of it being a really competitive one down to the end.
Greg Anthony, Turner Sports here on the Rich Eisen Show. It's a game-time decision for Iguodala. Is it like the NFL where they're just going to hide it even if they already know it all the way to the end because it might make a difference, or not really?
You know what? It probably is like that, Rich, but I will say this, that Houston will prepare as if he's playing. You almost have to. Mentally, you want to be expecting that they're going to be full strength, that he's going to be out there, and the game plan will change something because he's such a versatile defender. Here's a guy that can, in terms of how Houston is built, he can guard all 5 positions, much like Draymond Green can. So that versatility gives them a huge advantage, and obviously not having him out there will hurt Golden State. Plus his decision-making offensively. He can make an open 3. He's an excellent passer. He's really good in the open floor. So he'll be missed. There's no doubt about it because that bench, and I talked about this before the playoffs started. That was the one concern I'd always had about Golden State, because their roster was such now that they were going to be reliant upon guys that they really hadn't relied upon before. Nick Young, JaVale McGee played for him a lot earlier. They haven't been able to use David West much in this series. Kevin Looney, Jordan Bell. These are guys that hadn't necessarily proved themselves on this stage, and now not only are they going to be played, but they're going to play. They're going to have to play well. You're going into hostile territory tonight in Houston against a team that I think will get a confidence boost for having won the game the way they won. You start off down 12-0 to Golden State. You're down 12 with 10:40 to go in the fourth on the road, and you're able to come back and win that game. That is about as resilient game as I've seen the Rockets play all season.
Yeah, and it's not just that, Greg. It's the way that they were down 12 in the fourth quarter. It's the barrage of threes by Curry. I mean, and Curry is just directly plugged into that Oracle crowd, it seems, when those things happen, and it's so tough to come back from or stop. The question I have is, based on what you said, the Rockets have made the Warriors, certainly without Iguodala, look top-heavy in a way, and the question is, what are the Rockets, have they been able to do that other teams have not really been able to do against the Durant Warriors, Greg?
Well, the biggest thing they're able to do is because of their ability to switch 1 through 5. And remember, this is a defensive-oriented team now, and it's hard to – it sounds like an oxymoron with James Harden on the roster, right? But it really is. If you think about Ariza, Mbamute, P.J. Tucker, Chris Paul, Clint Capella, these are defensive-oriented players. And so what it's allowed them to do is to never have to break down defensively, all that switching. Now, you're going to catch some mismatches if you're Golden State, and we've seen that with Durant on Paul. But if you look at the numbers, they're triple the ISO plays now, Golden State, than they had been over the course of the postseason and regular season. They're running 3 times as many, which means when they're doing that, while that guy can have success, it makes you easier to guard because I'm not getting cut up. I'm not getting backdoored as much. I'm able to keep bodies on bodies. It allows us to basically load our defense, control our defensive backboard, and if they do a good job at home, which I think they'll be better than on the road, you can get out in transition. And so that's the big thing. Their ability to switch throughout, they can slow the game down with that. If they're not turning it over, it makes Golden State have to play a little later in the shot clock. And it's been effective. And I think part of it also is because they're able to really beat Steph Curry up on offense. They're able to basically continue to put bodies on him in pick and rolls and attack him one-on-one. And if you notice, they don't bail him out with a lot of jump shots. They're always trying to keep a body on him, driving to the rim, forcing help, or trying to finish. And I don't care who you are. It takes a toll. It physically takes a toll to be in that many possessions ISO-wise defensively, and then to have to go try and run and be a part of the offense on the other end. So it's a really good strategy, but you also have to have the personnel to execute it. And remember, their two best ISO players are point guards, Harden and Paul. So they're they're not uncomfortable with what they're being asked to do by Mike D'Antoni, and it's one reason why they have at least a chance in this series. And this game, boy, is going to be like a Game 7 in a lot of ways. It really will. And I think you're going to see a sense of urgency from both teams. I think you're going to see a high-level, intensely fought battle tonight by both, because I think Golden State, and I think they thought so coming in, they understood that Houston is capable of beating them. And that's a healthy respect to have for an opponent. And now Houston's in a position where they can, in some ways, put Golden State in that unenviable position of having to face it in an elimination game at home.
Couple more minutes left here with Greg Anthony of Turner Sports. There's many ways I could ask this question based on Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I'm just going to go straight.
Ooh.
I'm just going to go straight simple. What's up with the Cavs? What's up with them?
That roster outside LeBron is not very confident. They played nervous. What's weird? They play like Boston plays on the road. The difference is Boston has an excuse. They don't have a superstar, and they're young. I expect Boston to struggle on the road, as they have the entire postseason. I'm just shocked. And again, I credit a lot of this to Boston because they're very physical and they're very athletic across the board. And that does tend to wear on a team that isn't. J.R. Smith's not as quick or as athletic as he used to be. George Hill isn't as quick or athletic. Kyle Korver, Kevin Love isn't. And so they're able to negate and nullify a lot of the execution of Cleveland because they can be physical. And when you're physical defensively, you can disrupt timing and spacing. And that's why you're seeing forget the rest of the supporting guys. How about look at the turnovers LeBron's averaging in the series. He's averaging 6 turnovers a game. And that tells you right there that they're having an effect on what they want to do. They're just quicker to the ball. They're more physical. They're more active. And they're even more so at home. And so now the question is, if you're Cleveland, can you force that Game 7 back in Boston and hope that LeBron can have one of those games? Because even Kevin Love last night looked like a role player. That's basically what it boiled down to. LeBron was, you could still argue, is the best player on the floor, but the next 5 best players play for Boston. And if that continues, Boston's going to win the series. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
so Cleveland's in a world of trouble.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Batman's got a Robin. It's just a bunch of Alfreds, to be honest with you.
I was just about to say, I don't think he got any Alfreds. He could, Alfred will give you a chance,
He'll get you dressed. He'll get you.
They don't have Alfred.
But that's my question is, how does that happen? How does it happen where the Raptor? If I'm a Raptor fan, I'm like, that's the team that swept us? You got to be kidding me.
In a weird way, Boston doesn't have the psychological baggage that Toronto has. And quite frankly, they don't have the roster. Look, they got multiple guys that are going to compete defensively, and their help defense and their overall defense is better than Toronto's. And then the other thing they've done is at home especially, they have shot lights out from 3. So you think about Marcus Morris, physical, can compete, can guard multiple positions. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier battles. Jason Tatum, those guys compete. Aaron Baines has been terrific for them, again, especially at home. So, they got so many different ways to combat you. I mean, Cleveland's only averaging about 85 points a game on the road this series. And so for an offensive-minded team, they have no shot if they can't get close to 100, because defensively, I don't think they're going to be able to completely stop what Boston does. The only question is, one, can they win tomorrow night? And two, if Boston doesn't shoot the three well? That's the thing I look at. I look at turnovers and three-point shots in Game 7, if it gets there, because Boston's going to have some confidence. And right now, it looks like Cleveland is a little bit shaken. LeBron, and a lot of times when everyone's talking about him being fatigued, I think he was. I think he was a little more demoralized, too, with the fact that he wasn't getting any help from anybody on that roster.
And then that should make a July 1 decision even more interesting when it's all said and done, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate the time, Greg. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll chat with you during the NBA Finals.
You got it, Rich.
You got it. That's Greg Anthony 50 on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.